Inside of You is brought to you by BetterHelp. I don't know what I would do without therapy. I really don't. There was a time when I wasn't in therapy, and I really had no platform or nobody to bounce things off of things that I was feeling, and I was, things that get bottled up inside, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love BetterHelp, and I love what they do. It's because the more you talk about something, the less it has a hold on you, and the more I believe that these things that are haunting you or causing you pain, you're relieved. They start to dissipate. They start to go away. And I really truly believe, and I've talked to so many friends, and if you listen to the show, you know how important therapy is and can be. And, they say, well, it doesn't have to be for everybody. Well, I think it does. I think everybody should talk to someone objectively that they don't, when I talk to you, my darkest, weirdest thoughts, I can't really express, but when I can trust a therapist that I'm sitting across from to express these things, I find it incredibly healthy and helpful. I leave the therapy session feeling better. When I start it, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. And by the end of it, I notice such a shift in my energy. Therapy really is whatever you want it to be. You need to get some tools to help with, your motivation, depression, whatever the problems you might be having. It's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better, because you deserve to be happy. BetterHelp has customized online therapy. They offer video, phone, even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. I like to see the person, but you don't have to see them. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and I can tell you that from experience. We're talking substantial. I mean, the therapists that are, especially in LA, are quite expensive. BetterHelp is incredibly affordable. Join the millions of people who are seeing what therapy is really about. It may or may not be for you, but it's worth looking into, because you are your greatest asset. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Inside of You listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/inside. That's betterhelp.com/inside. Tell them Rosenbaum sent you, for God's sakes. Get some help. Get some therapy. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what day you're watching this. Maybe you're watching it years later, months later. You didn't watch it when it first came out or listened, but you're here with us. So I appreciate that. We got a great guest today. I worked with him in Sweet November. We had a kissing scene that didn't make it, got cut. From Harry Potter, The Patriot, tons of stuff. We'll get into him. But first, I got to ask Ryan, what the hell's going on with him today? Because he's a little out there.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of stuff going on this week, and that's it.
Well, you know what? It's either you do too much and you're stressed, you do too little and you're stressed. You, the proverbial you,
it's true.
Or it's right in the middle. Maybe there's some porridge. The porridge is the middle.
I think we're all missing a little bit of porridge in our lives.
Guys, make some porridge. Is that the right saying? Porridge?
Porridge.
Just say it. Say the word.
Porridge.
If you're driving right now, just say porridge.
Porridge.
It just sounds wrong.
Porridge.
Thanks again for everyone for listening to the podcast, for sticking with the podcast. Tell your friends. Let them know. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you're here for Jason Isaacs, love for you to stick around and learn something with us. I'm always learning stuff from the guests, and I think you will too. You could subscribe where, Ryan?
At youtube.com/inside of you with Michael Rosenbaum for the YouTube podcast, or you can just follow on Twitter at Inside of You Pod, Instagram, Facebook at Inside of You Podcast.
They're right here. You can see them too. So
and you can email hello@insideofyoupodcast.com.
That's right. If you have any questions, we don't answer them right away. We get to them quite infrequently. It's just I have so much going on, and I don't have a lot of people helping me out with that. So, Ryan's editing, Bryce is producing, I'm doing the show and a bunch of other stuff, and doing the Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, I have a lot of patrons, and they support the show in other ways, and it's a big family. And join patreon.com/inside of you. Patreon.com/inside of you, and I'll send you a message after you join. It's a nice family. But thank you for listening, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We've got some great guests. And, we've had some great guests. Zach Levi coming back. You think, okay, it's his third time. Who wants to listen to the third time? But you know what? He really opened up, and I freaking loved it. I loved him. He was talking about the medications he's on. He's pretty much telling the world that it's okay to be a little broken, and you got to really do the work. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, if you're enjoying, sometimes you hear the music playing. That's my band, Sunspin. We have a album out right here. You see that? It's called Best Days. Sunspin is the band. Best Days is the album. And you can get it at sunspin.com along with awesome merch and all that jazz. And you can also get awesome Inside of You stuff and Lex Luthor autographs and all that shit at the Inside of You online store. We got Smallville lunch boxes. We also have Sunspin lunch boxes that we sign. And so there's a lot of good stuff there. And I just want to say thanks again for listening and tuning in. It's been, a tough week. I'm having problems waking up in the morning.
Really?
I just have a tough time. I wake up the same time around 7 a.m. and then I make some coffee and I feed the dogs and I do my routine, but I just feel heavy in the face. Just like, I just could fall asleep. And maybe it's the meds. I don't know. I take meds when I wake up, a small amount of meds. Just for, a little anxiety stuff and whatever. But I do feel heavy. Maybe it just takes some people a couple hours to wake up. Is that possible? Because I never felt like this before, really. Usually I'm within an hour. Now it's like 3 hours.
I think having something to do, having a purpose in the morning as you suck down. Is that merch? Is that a merch
This is
bottle?
an Inside of You sipper. I am sipping down some decaf coffee. Maybe that's my problem, the decaf.
You need the coffee. Yeah, my coffee's just hitting. I'm like,
yeah, I don't know. You know what I want to be on? That Hot Wings show.
Yeah, you should do that.
But I think I would I would be the worst guest ever because after 3, I'm not good with hot stuff.
Everybody says that. Everyone who's on that show says that. But they all make it.
No, I would make this.
You don't think?
I think I would die probably by wing 5. What's it called?
Hot Ones.
Hot Ones. But he gets huge guests. I'm not a big star like that.
Who knows,
We're
man?
we're going to go from Will Ferrell doing Hot Wings to Michael Rosenbaum. It's going to go from 10 million views to like 200. But I'll make it funny because I'll freak out and I'll probably fall off the chair. I'll probably scream.
We could just do it here. You have your own platform.
Why don't we do our own Hot Wings? Say, since he won't beat me on his show, Michael Rosenbaum decided to do his own hot stuff. Hot stuff?
Hot Ones.
Hot Ones with Ryan.
Yeah.
And we sat here for an episode and just ate hot wings. This is, it might get a couple hundred views.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was going to talk more today, but I'm not going to. Let's get into this guest. This is, I've known this guy a long time. We did Sweet November together with Charlize Theron and Keanu Reeves. He's done tons of movies. He's an incredible actor. My mother never talks about my acting, but always talks about his. This is, he's got some great stories, and I think you're going to really enjoy this. So let's get inside of Jason Isaacs.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Look at that. You look good.
Thanks very much. Like a little pro thing here. What do you think? It's not as big and fluffy as yours, obviously.
Wait, what are we talking about?
I haven't got one of those. What do you call the spongy thing? I haven't got one of those.
Oh, you mean these little the condoms for the microphone?
Yeah, I've got a pop shield, so I don't all over the mic.
Well, yeah,
spurt.
That's because you do a lot of voiceovers and stuff, right? You got to have that little.
Do some voiceovers. I've been doing. Not recently, not for money. I've been doing charity voiceovers and hosting charity galas and charity appeals nonstop for the last 6 months. I feel so fucking guilty because people don't have any money and people are terrified. But on the other hand, the charities have all run out of money completely. So, I bought myself a bunch of equipment and then I've done a lot of charity work.
You got to feel good about that, though. Come on.
I do. I mean, I was encouraged to get it by my voiceover agent who said the work will come flooding in, and it hasn't even trickled in. But, ours is not the reason why. It's all fine.
Voiceovers are actually, I think, harder to get than actual acting gigs. I mean,
well, not in England, in America, yeah. So when I moved to the States, I was doing a lot of voiceovers in England, and you just get booked. They go, oh, we'd like you to do the voice of whatever the hell it is. And you turn up in the studio and you do it. So my agent goes, I have a friend in America who's an American voiceover agent. You can get one there. I went, yeah, sure. And I just figured I would just slide into doing it there. And it's a very different world.
It really is.
I go in somewhere and I didn't quite understand the concept of an audition. There'd be 50 people. It was like being on The Voice. And narrow it down to 10 and 5 and 3 people.
Yeah.
You don't get it and you go, fuck this. I've been here all day. I'm not doing that anymore. So I started to do cartoons. I did a lot of cartoons, which I know you did, which I love, and video games.
Yeah, and before, we'll get into that. But, how we met, obviously. We met.
Wait, we're recording. We're on. Okay, fine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just it's me. It's just a candid conversation.
Okay, so we should tell the 3 people listening or watching.
Actually,
we have millions of people.
I wouldn't say millions.
We should tell them how we met. All right,
hold on a second.
You look exactly the same. My eyes are fading, but you look exactly the same.
Hold on a second. I got an old dog. He's barking. He never does this. He's old, though.
It's control. He just hears a Jew and starts barking.
Yeah,
well trained.
Here's a Jew?
Yeah. He hears 2 Jews talking and it just upsets him.
That's true. We're 2 Jews. I never thought. I knew you
go on.
were.
How do we meet? Tell us how defamatory we're going to be. Do we want lawsuits here?
Well, it's funny because, all right, so we could say whatever we want. People will like it, I hope. So I auditioned for Sweet November, and I met with Pat O'Connor, who directed Circle of Friends. And I remember I didn't know this, but I auditioned for your role, and I didn't know that you were already their guy, but your schedule was conflicting. So that
was in the days when I had a conflicted schedule.
Well, I'm telling you, I remember because I didn't even know I was up against anybody. I mean, obviously you're up against everybody, but Pat O'Connor calls me and he has Michael, listen, you could have a great audition and, and that whole thing, you do it much better because you were on a show where you.
No, I wouldn't even dare to do his Irish accent.
But it was very,
you almost dared, but then you backed off.
And it was like floating. No, I don't know what it was, but he said to me, he says, listen, you have a great audition and everything. And, you're great for the role, but we have this actor that's on hold for that's why we were reading other actors. Because he's, if his schedule doesn't work, I'd like you to play this character.
Shit,
so I was supposed to play your.
You must have hated me for decades now.
No, I never did at all. But he said, listen, there's this other role. It doesn't seem as important, but it's his lover. And we'll do what we can. And we'll just make you feel like it's not a very big cast. And we want you to come play with us. And so I came to San Francisco. I met you. We went golfing. We had time to do things. We hung out with Keanu and Charlize a little. And I remember Pat said, hey, why don't you guys just start improvising something on set? So we started.
Let me just build back up to that. So when I was offered the job, I didn't want to take it. I'd just done the Patriot. And I liked the idea of playing someone who suddenly surprises the audience by turning out to be a drag queen. But it didn't, I wasn't in love with the script. And he said to me, he phoned me up. He said, look, we have mutual friends. I know you like to improvise. You can't improvise most of it. Keanu's in the scenes with you. I don't think that'd be fair to him. But there will be a scene where I will let you completely off the leash. And I think you'll have a very good time. We've got a fantastic guy playing your boyfriend. I think, it's really going to kick off. So I was very well behaved the rest of the film. I was so looking forward to our scene together. The audience doesn't know that I'm a drag. The audience doesn't know I'm gay.
Right.
Keanu thinks that I'm a love rival for him. And he turns up at our front door. First of all, I had said, before we went out, I said to production, listen, I'm playing a drag queen. I don't know any. Is there anywhere, can you think of anywhere or find somewhere I could go and research in? And they went, honey, we're in San Francisco. Throw us down. And so I went out to a bunch of drag bars. And it was quite shocking to me. Funny enough, I'd had a trans friend before, but I had never been around transvestites, and I just didn't know that drag wasn't about passing for a woman. And I went to these bars. I'm like, oh, these guys, some of them have moustaches. They look like Puerto Rican truck drivers in a frock. And so I was allowed off the hook. I didn't have to pass for a woman. But I was given carte blanche to dress in anything I wanted. So I went and picked this stuff and I did my fingernails and a wig and so. And I looked in the mirror and I went, fuck me, that's exactly what my mother looked like in the 60s when I was growing up. There's a picture. I mean, she was a very, very pretty woman, but I had approximated unconsciously my mother in the 60s. Anyway, but we get to the thing. It's you and I, we're going to do a scene. And I just remember Pat going, okay, you've been very good, well behaved. You've given Keanu his cues, because he likes to have, he's a different kind of actor, he likes his cues. Now, fuck him up. The character is meant to come in the room and not know what's going on and be really thrown. You and Michael, fuck him up. And then we I don't know. You take it over. I had the best time.
The best time. And I remember, do you remember he said, I just had the sound guy record us. So go listen to what you did and kind of fuck around and see what you can come up with. So we improvised, then we heard kind of what we did. And we go, we'll keep that. And then we'll add, and then it was just kind of light and fun. And I had so much fun.
He rolled until this is back in the days of film. He rolled until the mags ran out and then rolled again. We were all having a good time.
Yeah.
And then he called me at some point, or I had to do ADR or something. He said, the scene is like 20 minutes long and it's everybody's favorite bit in the scene. I've got to cut it down to like 2 or 3 minutes because it's upending the whole thing. So, there's a lovely romantic film. Then there's just a genius comedy set piece. And then it's back to romance. You're like, bring those guys back on again. So somewhere there is a 20-minute short film starring you and I doing stuff which we probably wouldn't be allowed to do today.
Oh, it was fun though. I had a great time, and working with you, and I could see that kind of that flicker in your eye, that sort of that. I don't know. You have that air about you, that energy, that you're obviously super talented, but I could just
a long time ago.
But and by the way, I think you were probably just getting married right around then, weren't you?
We were. No, we went. I went. When did we do it? We did it 2000, right?
Yeah, you were married in what, 2001?
No, 2001. No, maybe I did. I can't remember. No. Because 2001, I went to Black Hawk Down, and we were trying to get pregnant, and Ridley let me out of the last scene. It was incredibly nice of him, so I could go and see an IVF doctor in New York. So there's a scene in which I'm meant to be in, which I'm not in. And when we got pregnant, and then when we were pregnant, we were in LA. It's just so unromantic. And my wife was sick, and we didn't know whether to fly home or not. We phoned a doctor in the UK, and he said, you should go to an emergency room. The thing she's got, you should go and check out for a blood clot. And I thought, we thought, we don't have any medical insurance. I've got SAACS, she's got nothing. So we went to a registry office on Wilshire Boulevard. We called 2 of our friends who came, and we all swore an oath of silence that we would never tell anyone we were married there because we wanted to have a proper wedding and invite friends and hoping they'd fly overseas and make a fuss and if they knew, So when we came back to England, I didn't tell anyone, didn't tell my friends, didn't tell my family or anything. And we were at dinner a couple of months later with this friend of ours, an actress, and she said, since the two you guys got married. And I said, we're not married. And she went, Jace, Emma told everyone.
Oh my God.
And she went, yeah, I couldn't keep it in. So we never did do the proper wedding thing, but it was like a year and a half after we were together.
Wow. And you guys have been together for 20 years?
Oh. 500 years, 30 something years. We're still trying to get one continuously good week. When we do, we'll assess the situation.
See, I don't know how you do that, man. See, I'm somewhat single, I guess, perpetually. And I just feel like, I'm 48 years old. Could you imagine yourself alone? Could you imagine yourself not having Emma?
No, really. We're actors.
I thought you were going to say no. She's my glue.
I can't really. Well, the truth is we're actors, right? I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up still. So, and I'm 10 years old, 9 years old. So, I can imagine myself as a wizard. I can imagine myself on a spaceship. I can imagine this is my life. I mean, Emma is my life. My kids are my life. This is my life. But I also want 100 other lives. I want the life where I'm, roaming around. I want to be David Carradine in Kung Fu. I want to be climbing mountains, and I want to be there's a million things, lives that I'd like to live. I get to live, barely a fraction of one of them, but at least vicariously. The most fun thing, I think the most fun thing about acting in normal times is that I get to shadow people and then for moments pretend I'm them sometimes. So I've been lucky enough to shadow police and soldiers and prostitutes and pimps and politicians and many things that don't begin with P, So and each time I think, that could have been me. I wonder what my life would be like as that person. So I love Emma. This is who I am. This is where I'm anchored in the world. But I can imagine a million other lives.
What would you do?
And the grass is often greener if you're not careful. The grass will always seem greener.
Yes. What would you do though?
I have a glass here. I don't know if you can see this.
What is it?
Certainly you won't see it on an audio podcast. It says pessimist and optimist. But I wish someone had made a glass where you could just fill the top half and only have the pessimist half filled, because I'm often that too.
Yeah, I think we all are. Good God, I wish I'd get out of my head.
So you're single. Have you had long relationships?
Yeah, I mean, I've had. There we go. This always happens, by the way.
I'm dying to know.
The guest
I haven't seen
becomes
you
the
for
therapist.
I adored you, and I haven't seen you for 20-something years.
I know. I've had some, 3 years.
We saw each other once outside a club, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Club. Listen to us,
a club.
Outside a restaurant.
A restaurant, yeah. You call them clubs in England, right?
Yeah.
I date. I've had a 3-year relationship. I had a year relationship. I see all the dysfunction around me. and I see the unhappiness around me. And then the few moments you see that, oh, wow, that couple really works. Or you see my grandparents married for 72 years and it gives you hope. But then I think there was so much shit I went through, growing up that you're like, I don't think I should get married. I don't know.
It involves a ton of compromise.
It is.
Everything involves a ton of compromise. Being single does, being in a relationship.
Because I'm selfish. You could probably be shellfish. You could be shellfish.
I am extremely selfish. And I see other couples. I remember there was this couple when I was at drama school. My friend Eric's parents, they were both child psychologists. And they seemed so happy. My parents were not happy. I don't remember one moment of happiness growing up, seeing any joy between them or from each other. And seeing this couple, they were incredibly happy. We all felt the same way, all of Eric's friends. And I went and asked them separately. They were staying with us. We shared an apartment. And I asked them separately. I said, why your marriage seems crazy happy. I've never seen anything like it in my life. What is it? And they both said separately, well, I just devote myself to his happiness or her happiness, which at the time seemed great. Now I think that's the definition of codependency or whatever it is, something. But whatever, it seemed to work for them. I don't know. I mean, it's, in the end, we're born alone, we die alone. And this is the choice I made. I'm not a leaver. Emma's not a leaver. So we're in it for thick or thin.
Is that a bad thing, though, Jason? Is it a bad thing because, some people say, have your own agenda, have your own happiness. But is there something to be said about meeting someone who really just loves being around you and wants to make you happy? I mean, that is codependency.
I didn't meet that person. I think I met someone who was more healthy and more balanced than that.
Exactly. But, I mean, look, if you meet someone and they just love doing what you love to do, and that's their fun, they just love being around you and doing the things that you like. And you're like, well, let's do something you like, but they don't really have much to offer, or they never really ask to say, they never suggest, oh, why don't we do this? They just go along with you. Will that get boring? I don't know.
Yes, I think so. I think it would be very, very boring to be utterly dominant. I'd like it for a week or two, or even an hour, for anybody to think that what I said was impressive or interesting. On the other hand, look, I'm an actor, and I get sometimes I get a monstrously, grotesquely undue amount of status from people socially. Certainly, from people who like the work or are fans, and a film set is a very rigid, almost ancient Egyptian hierarchy, and you get all that status too. So if my wife was even microscopically impressed by me, it would probably be, it would be awful and damaging. So she's no interest in watching anything I do work-wise. She's never read an interview. She won't listen to this podcast. No, she's not. She's the public performing side of me. She's not even vaguely interested.
She doesn't come to a premiere with you. She didn't see the Patriot.
Premiere's different. Premiere's different because it would be weird if she did. By the way, she doesn't come to all of them by any means, and she doesn't. I've just been doing a bunch of publicity the last couple of weeks. This is not, by the way, and as you know, I'm not on the publicity trail, but I was last week doing a bunch of junkety things for a film called Skyfire, this Chinese volcano film.
How is that? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was amazing. But anyway, what I'm going to say is I was in the newspapers, there's magazines, on the radio stations, this shit that happens when a film comes out. Emma has no idea. She didn't read any of the papers. She didn't listen to the interviews. She hasn't watched the film, which we've got, a link to and stuff. And that's probably incredibly healthy. But it doesn't feed my ever grasping ego, my bottomless pit of need for praise, but it's maybe why we're still married after 32 years.
Does she say, you're raising children, she's doing her half, you're doing your half? Every once in a while, do you ever hear, Jason, you're really great in that?
Oh, in that, no. I mean, if she comes down in the morning and I've cleaned the kitchen up and done the bins, if I decide I'll do the school run, although I did it in the morning, the normal stuff of life, if I'm kind, if I praise her, if I do something that hasn't been asked for, if I cook dinner and whatever, just the normal things in life. If she's impressed by it. She's not impressed by those things I do professionally or how much command I have socially. And I think that's probably really healthy.
Yes, it's really healthy.
Didn't Gary Newman, the pop star, marry the president of his fan club? I'm not sure. Well, maybe they're still incredibly happy. Gary, if you're listening to this, I apologize.
But I'll tell you what, Jason Priestley married a fan of his wife, who's wonderful, and they've been married and have kids and are happy as ever. So it's rare. It does happen, but it's probably not, you tried to separate that. The
only thing is, so when you tell people you're married for 30 odd years and, been together forever, they always think, oh, it's Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward, and they have this perfect I don't know anyone who's got the perfect thing. I do know there's people I think from the outside, wow, if only we were like that. Look at how great they are with each other. And then they break up where you find out that they've got a basement full of limbless children or whatever the hell it is. So we're no poster children for how to conduct ourselves or sort out problems or arguments. We do our best. We try and get better at it. There are times we're petulant and sulky and stupid. There's times we're loving and fabulous. And, it's a marriage. I remember meeting years and years ago. You get to edit this when I'm really fucking boring, right?
You're not boring at all. This is
honestly, I'm about to be.
But, well then,
anyway, years ago, I met Ed Zwick and Marshall Hershkovich, who did 30 something. I met Marshall, I think, in London, and he said to me, "Look, we've seen you working. I don't know doing what, but I was doing Harry Potter at the time, and I was in a gap, and they said we used to make television. We did a thing called 30 something. I said, I know, I could recite every word of every episode. They said, well, you must be young watching it. I said, I don't know why. I must have been 18 or 19. I loved 30 something. I loved the fact you created Tim Busfield's character, Elliot, who was selfish and petulant, spoiled and sulked and just felt like a real person. Everybody wanted to be Ken Olin, Michael, but I wanted to be Tim Busfield or because I'd never seen anyone like that before. He said, well, okay, well, I'm glad you know it because we're going to come back to television. Ed's been making these giant movies, but we wanted to see, we just don't know any people who've been killed, and we don't know any aliens, and we don't know people with superpowers. We want to make a TV show about the shit in our lives, about a marriage, just, about the ups and downs of a marriage and how to hold it together and what happens if someone gets cancer and your kids growing up. And that should be enough drama. That's the drama that most people experience. And I went, oh, that sounds amazing. And anyway, I couldn't do it because of the schedule or something. And they made it. And I saw Ed Zwick in the park years later when I was living in Los Angeles. He was walking a dog, and I said, Ed Zwick? He said, yeah. And I said, oh, it's Jason. I remember years ago, I nearly did that pilot with you. I said, how did it go? You wanted to see whether you could make a drama out of just the simple things in life. He went, yeah, you can't. I went, oh, okay. He said, yeah, there's got to be a murder or homicide or a giant.
My gosh.
Some kind of other thing going on. It's not enough to have ordinary life.
Wow.
Marriage, don't be envious of it. Be who you are and find your places where you take. I think it must be difficult to be 48 and be prepared to make the amount of compromises that it takes to be. Emma and I have been together so long, it'll be, to consider not being together will be seismic. But when you meet a new person, you start dating.
Yeah.
They better be perfect.
You know what?
They better feel like that jigsaw better fit perfect.
They're just, I think it has to just be easy. Like there just can't be drama. There can't be like real sensitive about things you say. I mean, look, you argue, you have things, but it just can't be combative. I can't be in a combative relationship. I never really have. There was one, but I just don't want to argue. I don't want to like,
in relationships, and either this one with them or my friends I see in new ones, that when something is going wrong or isn't going great, you think, well, that's because they fill in the blank, whatever it is.
Right.
Because they're too crazy or they OCD or they brought up my mother. And the trick, and I don't have it, I'm absolutely talking the talk that I can't walk here. The trick is to go, what did I do? What's my bit? What can I change? But it's always they.
Yeah, I found that's a good line.
My relationship Yoda advice there.
Inside of You is brought to you by Helix. Helix sleep, man. There's no sleep like Helix. I will tell you that right now. You guys know I suffer from back surgeries, and I'm always looking for a better mattress, a new mattress, something that I could just wake up and go, okay, I'm ready for the day. You got to try Helix. They do this amazing quiz that takes like 2 minutes, Ryan, and it matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you.
Wow. I
mean, why would you buy a mattress made for someone else?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're taking a quiz and like, oh, this is the perfect sleep for you, this is the perfect mattress. If every mattress is the same, then I'm just getting your mattress and you're getting my mattress, and we both sleep differently and we both like different mattresses.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you know will be perfect for the way you sleep. Everybody's unique, and Helix knows that, so they have several different mattress models to choose from. They have soft, medium, and firm mattresses. Mattresses great for cooling you down if you sleep hot, and even a Helix Plus mattress for you plus-size sleepers. I took the Helix quiz. I'm a medium, and that's what works for me. With my back problems, I can't be too hard. I can't be too soft. I've got to be right down the middle. But take the quiz. It takes 2 minutes, and you'll figure that out. So if you're looking for a mattress, it's Quite simple. You just take a quiz, you order the mattress that you're matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't ever need to go to a mattress store again. Just go to helixsleep.com/inside, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. You got a 10-year warranty, too. You can try it out for 100 nights. Who gives you that? Risk-free. Helix. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Do you hear that? $200 off all mattresses and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/inside. That's helixsleep.com/inside for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Helix. Inside of You is brought to you by Geico.
Michael, you own this home, correct?
I do own my home.
And that can be stressful in a lot of different ways, can't it?
Ryan, it is incredibly stressful for everyone around the world. The biggest thing that people, have a hard time with is paying their mortgage, paying their rent. It's always the biggest problem. You know, you always hear those stories. Like you have to be 1 week's salary should pay for 2 weeks' salary should pay for the rent. Right? Isn't that the thing?
I think so.
It's definitely tough. And what's even more of a bitch, Ryan, is paying your mortgage to one company, then paying your auto policy to another company, then paying this to another. It's a pain in my ass. And that's why there is Geico. And that's why Geico has bundling policies. It's so simple. they don't even need me to talk about this. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. They know what they're doing here. They're doing something right. Look, folks, it's that easy. These bundling policies, you pay one person, you pay Geico, and you're done with it. And you're going to get a great rate. Just go to geico.com. You get a quote. You see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Even a Rosenbaum can do it. Listen, you were talking about, like 15 minutes ago, you said something about, when we were doing Sweet November and that scene got cut down to 2 minutes, it was 20 minutes. Have there been roles where you're like, when you watch, you're like, what the fuck? What happened to that shit? Have there been moments where you're like, oh, it was so great and it's gone and no one told you?
Yeah. Always. It's not even just the moment. Well, first of all, when I did Harry Potter, which I loved doing, and I love the people who made it, it was nothing but an unending pleasure. I stopped reading the books because there were fabulous bits in the books that, of course, didn't make it to the screenplay because otherwise the films would have been 900 hours long. But not in those films, but in other things. As as an actor, part of what you do is you're shaping a story. Like when you're telling a joke, you're gauging, calibrating in order for the right bits to come at the right time in the right way. And then you see it, and the middle's been put at the end, and the end is at the beginning, and or they've altered the timing so you can cut to someone else. You don't see the reaction. Really, if you want control over your performance, you've got to be on stage because it's a director and an editor's medium, and it's very rare, unless you do a single take somewhere, that the performance is ever going to be the performance that you felt that you gave. And then there's the other thing, which is to give a really good performance, you shouldn't really be aware of anything you're doing. You kind of lose yourself in it. You still know where the mark is, and you're not really punching someone, but you also shouldn't really be editing your head or aware of it. So when you watch it back, it could be a surprise and not what you thought you were doing, or not what it looks like. I don't know. I try not to think about acting anymore. That awful thing that happens when you get on a set and there's some young actor and they've completely prepared their performance, and it's fabulous, an exquisite piece of self-sculpture. And you could just drop your pants and take a shit on their head and it would not alter one beat. The set could be on fire. It does nothing. You could pull your nose off. And they're going to do that thing because they've worked it out with their manager or their acting coach. I've worked with people who have an acting coach on set. And I try to do no preparation whatsoever. I know the story, and I trust myself to be in the moment. I hope that they're going to be alive in the moment. And whatever happens, happens. And so same with the edit. You just have to let go of it. Our experience, the pleasure we should get should be just the release of doing it. The release of dancing, singing, acting, painting should be the doing of it, and then just let go. And if I could, I would never watch any of it. And I wouldn't care if no one ever saw any of it. But as long as I kept getting the opportunity to do it again.
Really? So you sincerely, just doing it for you is the pleasure. You don't need to see it.
I've been with you on a set. Look, I don't know how to apportion the pie, but part of the pleasure is we get to be part of this community, this little village that comes together. It's a group of friends. It's not like a normal working environment. It feels like you're hanging out. We are doing the most childish job on the set, childlike job on the set. So, it doesn't feel responsible. We're not, transplanting organs here or anything. And we need to keep ourselves loose and having fun and our emotions close to the surface. So laughing is close to tears. And so people are always kind of clowning around, enjoying themselves. It's very social. And then there's the bit where you get to play like all humans would play if we were let completely off the leash. And like kids do play. We get to play pretend and feel what it's like to have another person's thoughts and needs and wants and kind of unpick the human condition and paint pictures with the building blocks of emotion and stuff. I had this, okay, this is going to sound like a non sequitur, it's not, I don't think. The thing about good acting, bad acting, are people doing it well and us judging ourselves, are we doing it well? I had this seminal experience. I was at drama school and I was in the common room, the kind of hangout room with the jukebox and dot. I think I bunked out of a lesson, whatever you call it, playing hooky. I was sitting there smoking a big joint. And in the doorway, right at the other side of the room, were these two people from the year above, the graduating year, and they were rehearsing some scene, like a really dramatic, acting, shouting, arguing, crying scene. It was just fucking horrible. The guy, God bless him, was a terrible actor. He should have been told within a day of arriving at drama school, listen, we made a terrible mistake. We got your name down, we'd be confused with someone else. You're never going to be an actor. You don't have the thing, whatever it is. It doesn't say anything about you as a human being. You just can't say your own name and sound convincing. It's not going to happen. And I was watching him do this waving of his arms and shouting and stupid things in his voice. I was thinking, it's just cruel, pushing him out in the world. She was pretty good, but he was awful. Anyway, it was ruining the joint and I was harshing my buzz. So I thought, I've got to get out. And I got up and I walked past them to leave the room. And I realized they were having a real argument. And they were crying and shouting and screaming at each other, best friends having a falling out. And it was a revelation to me because that is as good acting as anybody will ever do, i.e., he was 100% emotional and present. I just didn't particularly like the way he looked or sounded. There's something about him felt artificial to me.
Right.
So when I watch myself on screen or other people, it doesn't matter what I think of what's going on. I might think that person's interesting or true, and so the next person next to me thinks that's ridiculous and fake. So I'm no judge of what other people will think of me anyway. All I can control is in the moment, am I feeling it? Am I honestly trying to change the other character's mind? Am I trying to make them love me or hate me? Me assessing later on whether I think I've done it well and what reviewers think of it is so out of my control. There's no point thinking about it.
It's hard, though, especially in the beginning. I think that takes maturity.
It's a nightmare.
Because in the beginning, you want the awareness. You want the articles written about, oh, hey, he was great in this and he did this. It still feels good, but should you be getting sort of enveloped in it?
Bad ones. You get the good stuff. It's great. And you get addicted to it. You get the bad ones. It really sucks.
It kind of breaks your
I don't
heart.
have the courage or strength of character not to look at them. I've generally had pretty good ones, but it doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. I can read, and now online social media, there's a billion reviews of things. I can read hours and hours of good stuff, and one person goes, that accent sucked, and I just walk around crushed by it, So I should look. My friend Lenny James, the actor Lenny James, who's in Fear the Walking Dead. He was in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Doesn't read reviews. Doesn't read them, doesn't look at them, not interested.
Do you believe
He's
him?
absolutely
Do you
right.
believe him?
Be healthy.
You believe that?
I do. He's like my brother. I love him. I trust him. Fuck, if he lied to me, I'd be horrified. I don't think he does. But so, yeah, I had this early lesson about reviews. I was a student, not even a drama student yet, I was a law student. And we'd taken a play to the Edinburgh Festival, which is this giant arts festival in Scotland. Thousands of things go on. You can't get reviewed because there's thousands of things, but you don't get an audience without review. So it's a nightmare. And back in the day when I did it, when I was young, there were only two things that reviewed you. There was two newspapers, one broadsheet and one tabloid. So we open at lunchtime. It's this play, there's a lot of nudity and swearing. We thought it was brilliant. We're students, a lot of sex and all this stuff. And at midnight, the broadsheet newspaper came out. And that first day, we have 5 people in the audience. We're 6 on stage, 5 in the audience. And at midnight, we're at this party where all the performers used to go, and they would come in and dump the newspapers at midnight. Everyone would descend like vultures, rip it to pieces, see if they got a review. But they're only reviewing like 10 shows a day, and there's thousands. So, we got a review. First day, 5 people in the audience, we get a review, and it says, this is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. These people should be shot. They're what gives student drama a bad name. Avoid it like the plague. So we got the rest of the summer doing the show. And we walk up onto this mountain in the middle of Edinburgh called Arthur's Seat. We take some tequila, probably some things that were illegal at the time. And we sit up on the mountain just so depressed. We come down at 5 o'clock in the morning, and outside a newsagent, what we call a candy shop, is piles of the tabloid newspaper. The shop's not open yet, so they're just sitting there on the street. We grab one, we steal it, we open it, and unbelievably, we've been reviewed in that too, which means 2 of the 5 people in the audience were reviewers. And it went, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Electrifying theatre, pulls no punches. Go and line up round the block with the rest of us to watch these stars of tomorrow. And we got both reviews. We put them on a poster. We fly posted all over town. Where these 2 people saw the same show. Make your own mind up. We sold out. But it was an early lesson that none of it means shit. None of it. It's somebody's opinion. They want to look clever. They've come up with a good pun, a bit of alliteration. They don't care about you and the work you've done. They just care about reading their column, So you shouldn't look at it.
You have great stories.
Yeah,
Are you
I've been trotting the same stories out for 30 years.
Well, here's a review for you. My mother.
Yeah.
I say, what was that show you loved with Jason Isaacs? Brotherhood. He is my favorite. He played a real badass, Michael Caffey. Get it now on Hulu. I've never heard my mom go
she's going full into
and on. Really good show. Not known enough. Ended too soon. And I'm like, all right, shut up. I just wanted to know what the fucking
That's the story of all my television series. Not known enough.
Me too. Excited one, but 2 years here, 1 year here.
What do you mean you ran for? What have you been on? 25 years you're playing Lex Luthor?
Well, no, 7 years. I left after 7.
7 is a lot. But I've never gone beyond 3.
Okay, well, I mean, you were Lucius Malfoy, so fuck you.
But it's not. I'll tell you what I have done though. But you talk about voiceovers. This is a strange thing to say.
You were Lex Luthor.
I've been Lex Luthor, Ra's al Ghul, Superman, Batman. I've been all the DC people, but on a microphone. You were Lex Luthor.
Well,
and you were brilliant.
Still awesome.
You were brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
But what I was going to say was,
that's your opinion.
Yeah, exactly. It means fuck all.
I was
going to say, one of the things that I've been lucky about in my, an actor's career is so easy. I could paint picture of tremendous, I wouldn't do it on a podcast because it's not very inspiring, but I could go, oh, woe is me, all the things I missed out on or haven't got, have gone badly, were cancelled. Or I could go, how amazingly lucky I am, I've done all these fabulous things. The truth is, you could wake up every morning and you just can decide if you're lucky enough, or if not, you use some tools, whether to be grateful. You can be ungrateful. You can compare yourself to other people you think have better lives. They probably don't. Or you can just appreciate. But I was going to say, one of the things I've been able to do in my career, such as it is, often is choose, because I've not been broke. And that's a huge, big deal. And one of the reasons that happened is that very early on, I started doing voiceovers. I had a voiceover agent. I was doing commercials. It meant that when I was offered jobs where I thought the part was shit, not small, but bad, I didn't do them. So some of the praise I've got from your mum, for instance, is because I was free enough, not doing other shitty things, to go, that is a brilliant script. And that is a brilliant part. And I was lucky enough to get offered it. But if you're not able to pick and choose the really good parts, and you're not lucky enough to come your way, it doesn't matter how good an actor you are. You'll never have a break.
Wow.
So I was lucky. I was, after the Patriot, when I came to work with you, I was offered every one-dimensional bad guy in Hollywood, opposite all of the kind of big alpha male guys, because I'd just been opposite Mel Gibson.
What roles were
really well-written parts?
Right. What roles were you? That you rejected? What roles after that came to you? Any big ones that you rejected after the Patriot?
Oh yeah, you can't say things like that.
Yeah.
Other actors did them. I'm a bit dumb. I should have done them for the money and to cement my status. Instead, I went and did a play about the Northern Irish peace process. I played a third lead drag queen. I did a bunch of indie things. I probably should have listened to my agent and gone, just do 3 or 4 of these things. And I was going, well, they're done. The part in The Patriot was a brilliantly complicated, wonderful guy. And the story, and Mel Gibson and Roland, gave him status. I came on screen and shot a bunch of kids. I burned a church. But lots of the other villains I was offered were so wafer thin, I would have looked bad in it. And I wouldn't get any other work. In retrospect, it was dumb. I should have taken jobs, made money, and no one's playing 3-dimensional career chess. I could have done some good stuff afterwards. But I was so proud and picky. I wanted only to do things I thought were great. And that's really been consistently the story of most of what I've done. Every now and again, I just do a piece of shit because it's a good check or it's a nice holiday. But mostly I try and curate for my own ego and pride. If I can't be the most famous or richest person in the world, I can at least look back at the work I've done and gone, that's good stuff. And that's interesting. And those are interesting parts. And when the credits run, people can have a conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, is there one role that you were up for? Just say you were up for it Not offered. You could lie, but just a role out there that was one of the ones that you're like, I should have talked to them about that.
Oh, fuck me. Are you kidding me? I could write a book about the things that I didn't do. And I either passed on, that went on to be global smashers.
What?
Or nearly. Here's the worst one, which I can't obviously put the name in because someone else did it and whatever. But here's the worst one. Brotherhood went to 3 seasons. They kind of wanted to cancel it after 2 seasons, really. They gave us a truncated 3rd season. Late in the day, they went, you know what, you can do 8 episodes, because there was a writer's strike. And there was a writer's strike and they didn't have any material and developed anything. So they let us limp on for a 3rd season, which is great. It's good work, but I don't think they really wanted to do any more of it. In the period of time when it wasn't going to happen again, somebody wrote a show that went on to be one of the most successful and awarded shows in the world. And they wrote it with a picture of me on the corkboard as they wrote it. And
they were like that. You were being
they had
considered.
a picture of me up there, and they approached me and said, "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm X, and I've written this pilot that I wrote with you in mind, but you weren't available. Congratulations on the 3rd season of Brotherhood." And I went, "Oh, that's great. Well, what did you write?" And they went, "Oh, it's a show about this sort of thing." And I went, "Oh, good luck with that." Thinking, well, that's never going to be anything. And then there are cabinets full of awards for it, and that is the one that got away because it's a great show. And it's a great part. On the other hand, you have to be honest and go, if I had done it, maybe it wouldn't be successful. Maybe the actor that did it is the reason it became successful, and it wouldn't have been good with me in it. Maybe I would have blown it.
I always say, and you could agree with me or not, but it's the perfect storm. I've talked about it. You in The Patriot. If Heath Ledger wasn't very good, or it wasn't shot that great, or whatever, all these things didn't add up and make it this really great movie.
Sure.
If one thing's missing, that could be enough to break the car down.
Oh, yeah. Francis Ford Coppola changed the score of The Godfather like 2 weeks before it came out. The score is everything in that film.
Yeah.
It's genius. No, it all just has to happen. It's like when we're doing publicity for Harry Potter, we go around, when we used to go around and do all these junkets everywhere, and people would go, so tell me, why do you think the movies are so successful? What is it about the books that really works? And then people are going, all my esteemed fellow cast members are going, well, it's about loyalty, it's about friendships, but so's a million other fucking things. And they've got kids and they've got magic and they've got, who knows? It's the ley lines met, something happened, and if you could repeat it, they would repeat it. So who knows when things work or why they work. But I'll tell you, it always starts with a good script. I've never been in anything good that came from a bad script, ever.
Yeah. Well,
have you? Can you think of something that turned out well from bad script?
Usually when I go in, I'm thinking, well, I bet they could do something with this. Maybe they're, who knows? I mean, certainly there are movies or scripts that you look at and they're like, that can't be good. And the director's so inventive, creative, technological that all of a sudden becomes this huge thing. And you're like, you read the movie like Cabin in the Woods. I like horror movies. And you're oh, God, I don't know. This is like, and then you look.
No, that worked. I love that film.
It was so fun.
I'll tell you what I read that I didn't think was that funny, but partly because I was asked to audition for a part that only one eye appeared. It was all prosthetics. Is Galaxy Quest. I remember thinking, it's kind of funny. I hadn't at the time been, obviously, in Star Trek or been to conventions or seen any of that stuff, but I kind of some understanding of it. But the aliens weren't even remotely funny on the page. There was nothing about them. They just spoke like androids. And then I watched the film, which is utter genius from start to finish. Every word of it.
Love it.
And I thought, wow, I should have. But I don't think I should have seen it. And they must have come up with that in rehearsal. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, I went in there for that like 3 times for that alien. I come from the, with the whole thing. The way they did it was genius. I didn't even think of that. I did something else that was kind of corny and it probably would have ruined the movie.
You're very good at voice. I remember your impressions vividly.
Really?
You still do. Have you updated them with any new people, or is it still the same? Because when they die, you're fucked.
Well, I remember Keanu when we were working with Keanu. I just remember that's when I started to develop a Keanu Reeves impression, and I loved him. I just remember us sitting in the room, and we love him and adore him, and he's the best. But I just remember
he's a lovely man.
You had to carry Charlize, or we had to carry Charlize into the bathroom. She had cancer, and we're sitting there, and Keanu.
She's a big. Let's be honest. She's a big lass. Yeah, she's a bag of bones. It was very easy.
Yes, it was very easy. She's very thin, very lightweight. But we're sitting there. I thought you were meant because she's so tall. But we're sitting there, and then Keanu, they say action, and he comes in, he has a scene, and just goes, Sarah. And he does this, Sarah, I know doctors. And he goes, fuck. And he hits the wall. He's like, Pat's like, are you okay, Keanu? You need another, you need a minute or so. He's like, no, I've got this. Action. Sarah, I know doctors. Fuck. Shit. And he kind of hits the wall again. And then he goes, no, I got this. Kenny, are you sure? Yeah. Action. Sarah, I know doctors. Yeah, I think that was it. And I remember all of us looking at each other like, what? It was just a funny moment.
He was a phenomenon.
He is.
Inside of You is brought to you by Athletic Greens.
I wanted to do my announcer voice for that. I love this stuff. I've told you, I gave you some of this stuff.
Mhm.
In my life, man, without Athletic Greens, I'm not getting my nutrients. I'm not getting my minerals. This stuff tastes good. It's easy. You drop into water. This is a no-brainer, folks. It really is a no-brainer. Most of us wake up and maybe have a piece of peanut butter toast like I do, or you have some coffee. You're not putting good things in your body right off the bat, but what if you did? If you did, you'd feel better. And I do feel better after doing this. And it becomes a routine in your life. With so many stressors in life, it's difficult to maintain effective nutritional habits and give our bodies the nutrients it needs to thrive. Busy schedules, poor sleep, exercise, stress, or simply not eating enough of the right foods.
1 scoop of Athletic Greens contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients.
Wait, 75?
That's right, Michael, including a multivitamin, multimineral, probiotic, green superfood blend, and more.
And all these guys work together to fill the nutritional gaps in your diet. Increase your energy, increase your focus. That's what I need in my life. I need more focus, more energy, and I'm getting older. These are vital. Aids in digestion and supports a healthy immune system, all without the need to take multiple products. Right now, Athletic Greens is doubling down on supporting your immune system during the winter months. They're offering my audience a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. If you visit my link today, you'll basically never have to buy vitamin D again. So whether you're looking for peak performance or better health, covering your bases with Athletic Greens makes investing in your energy, immunity, and gut health each day simple, tasty, and efficient. Simply visit athleticgreens.com/YOU and join health experts, athletes, and health-conscious go-getters around the world who make a daily commitment to their health every day.
Again, simply visit athleticgreens.com/YOU and get your free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs today.
athleticgreens.com/YOU. Inside of You is brought to you by Capsule.
Michael, isn't going to the pharmacy the worst?
The worst.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. I hate running out of prescriptions and then go, oh, I got to stop by the wait in that line. And they got the little feet things for the social distancing. So you're kind of like 6 feet away and you're like down aisle 4 waiting to get in line for your prescription. You know what's awesome?
What's awesome?
You don't have to freaking do that anymore.
Oh, that's amazing.
With Capsule. I mean, isn't it all about doing things that are easier in your life or make your life easier? Capsule's here. Capsule's a new kind of pharmacy that hand delivers your prescription the same day for free.
To start, visit capsule.com. It only takes 15 seconds to sign up.
And when your prescription's ready, Capsule will text you to schedule free delivery at a time that you choose.
Then a Capsule courier hand delivers your medication to your door straight from their pharmacy in a tamper-proof package. It's totally secure.
And what's great, if you have any questions, you can call, text, or email with an expert pharmacist. It's that simple. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to the pharmacy anymore. I'm talking to Capsule. Guys, no more waiting in line. No more driving to the pharmacy. No more forgetting refills. Done. Capsule is saving your life. Capsule accepts all major insurance and is currently available in New York City and the surrounding tri-state area, Los Angeles, Austin, Boston, Chicago, and the Twin Cities and other cities are coming very soon. To sign up, visit capsule.com to get your prescription hand delivered today for free. That's capsule.com. Inside of You is brought to you by True Underdog Podcast. Raised in a trailer park with no clear path to success, kicked out of high school multiple times, faced with becoming a father in his teens, Jason Waller is the definition of a true underdog. After hearing the words no or you can't too many times, he unleashed the power within to start 3 successful companies. With his most recent venture, Power Home Solar, skyrocketing on a path to becoming a billion-dollar enterprise. Join us as Waller, a 4-time Entrepreneur of the Year winner, shares motivational tips and inspiring stories and business building lessons from the ground up. He shares his life experiences and that of his high-profile guests to help others better themselves. As Waller will tell you, there's no elevator to success. That climb only happens one step at a time. Let every True Underdog podcast be that step that elevates you. Scared money won't make money. Learn about failure. Learn about entrepreneurship. Learn about never quitting or making excuses. It's real. It's raw. It's motivational. Check out True Underdog Podcast at trueunderdog.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. Let me ask you, you said you don't prepare. You said when you, I know that's a loose term. It's like, prepare.
No, I don't look at the lines and I don't think about what's going to happen in the
Wait
scene.
a minute.
I know the lines.
You know the lines. When you say, how long does it take you to memorize lines?
I never learn lines. I never look at them. Like I've read the script. I know roughly what's happening. I need to know where it is in the story because you shoot out of sequence always, obviously. So I know where have I come from, what's happened before, what's happened in the scene. I get to the set. I have the sides, which is the little piece of paper, and I familiarize myself as we're doing some choreography or blocking, and then I just sort of know them and reach for them because I'm making this shit up when I'm talking to you, so I don't know what I'm going to say next. So I have a very, very loose grasp of the lines, and occasionally I've worked with directors who think, oh, he's taking it lightly, or he's being an amateur or something. But it's an approach I've learned from much better, more experienced actors. That I just have I'm somewhere I know, on some level beyond consciousness, I know roughly what the shape of it is, but I want to see what happens.
But what happens when you have to know words verbatim, like the Patriot or whatever it is, and they don't want you to improvise, and you have to prepare?
Oh, I don't improvise. I mean, I respect the writer, but just if they make sense and it's what you would say next, because you know what you're thinking.
If it's good writing.
Because no one ever says what they're thinking. They say what they want. They say things to try and get the effect they want from the person they're talking to. If they make sense, then they come out and they're natural. And if you keep stumbling over the same point or transitions because maybe you haven't got your thoughts right, or maybe sometimes the words need tweaking. But,
so you
you have to do the work first to make sure it's not you.
So you read the script a few times, you know it, this character, and you say when you get on set, you'll go over it in the makeup trailer, you'll kind of like go through it in blocking, but you never really know. You guys should just watch the YouTube just to see what Jason did with the microphone. But you never really see that. Right now I get anxiety thinking about that.
Even if it's pages of dialogue, and I've never held up a shoot. No, they've never had to wait while I go, wait a sec, I haven't got this down. I mean, look, if it's reams of medical stuff that you've got to learn, or in Star Trek, when I was a captain in Star Trek, I would constantly try and give the very scientific gobbledygook away to other people. I go, wouldn't it be better if he said that to me? But
right.
Yeah, I can learn things very quickly. I have a lot of ROM and no RAM, or the other way, or whatever it is. I can get there and look at the stuff in the trailer, and I know the words. But what I don't want to do is have a shape for it in my head. I don't want to have a performance before I'm engaged with the other person. It's like, you practice having sex by yourself and then slot someone else in. That's not the way it works. and the best acting teacher I ever had, I was so intrigued when I heard Jamie Lynn Siegel on your podcast say she's gone back to acting classes now, because nobody in Britain does that. You leave drama school, you never do classes again. But the best teacher I ever learned from, this director, never told us a thing to do, never once suggested anything we should do in our performance. He just kept on asking us what we're trying to change in the other person. And then when he started answering, he'd go, don't tell me, show me. And I wonder if you found this to be the same. The best performances I've ever seen on a film set are always off camera. It's always the person off camera acting 100%. For me, or
I've said
the best performances I've ever given are off camera. And it's because in life, now I'm talking, right? And there's a camera pointing at me, but I'm looking at a picture of you. Because what I'm really trying to do is connect with you, get a reaction from you. I have scenarios in my head that play out. One is that you go, this is amazing. That's my optimum scenario. The nightmare scenario is I'm looking at you and I see that you're actually texting someone while I'm talking. Somewhere between the two is the drama and why I'm still talking, And you can't do that shit by yourself in the trailer. You can only do that with another person and see whether they're alive, whether it's working, whether you're going to get to make them apologize or say, I love you, or stop being angry, or whatever the scene requires.
What
So I
yeah.
have a very loose grasp of the words, and then I get there and I see what happens.
What percent of how many actors do you come across big actors who just really don't give you much off camera, who just kind of throw it away and like, you're kind of on your own? And can you deal with that? Are you good
I
with
don't know.
that?
Can you go over 100? It's not actually. It's not that people don't give you a lot of camera. It's that if you shoot their close up last, if they've been doing wides, they might be working themselves into it. So when you finally do their close up, someone's close up, whether it's the star of the film or someone who doesn't quite, hasn't been around enough, doesn't know how this game works, they only really, really focus on what's going on for them in their close up. Or when it gets to their close up, they suddenly go, "Oh, this is the bit where I better cry, or I better shout, I better do something interesting in my close up that's spectacular and is worthy of the ticket price." And you go, "Well, if I'd known you were going to fucking do that when I shot my reaction to it, when I'm just talking and now I'm doing your close up and now you're sobbing, I would have been talking to a crying person. It's a whole different thing." So good actors, generous actors, theater actors will very often, right from the beginning, be present. It's a sign of inexperience, I think. Sometimes, schematic selfishness, but mostly inexperience, that people haven't found the heart of the thing until they do their own close-up. And what they should be doing is finding it always, and finding it off camera always. And I find that most, acting is a very generous thing. There's very few people that are entirely selfish about the performance because they know you're only ever as good as the other person in the scene.
Yeah.
You can't be good in a scene where someone else is not believable. So if you don't give it to them, then they don't give it to you, and then the thing dies.
Hey, when you worked, I think about like the set of the Patriot. I'm just imagining it, and like it's like your first real big role. You were in Event Horizon. You'd done a lot of stuff, but like
I've done leads in British TV shows.
Right,
I've
but
been
Patriot was
my first big role in a big American movie.
right.
Sure,
This was like, holy shit! Everybody in the world's going to see this, and this is the bad guy. You're the Darth Vader of the Patriot, and it's so you're sitting there and you're working with Heath Ledger and Mel Gibson, and are you one of those guys that when you're the bad guy, you have to sit away from everybody. You don't want to get too talky, or you could just jump in. Well, some people are like that. I've read a lot about that. Or are you sitting around talking to Heath and Mel and got along great?
So we flew out there early to South Carolina, Mel, Heath, and I, and an AD, I think, and for feels like a month, but maybe it was a couple of weeks. All we did was ride horses, sword fight, load and fire muskets, and throw tomahawks. And every day we go back to where we were staying, we look at each other and go, "We're getting fucking paid for this." It was we had a fantastic time. And it was an incredibly convivial, collegiate set. I mean, I've been on those sets where the directors think that in order to create the kind of alpha macho tension that is needed on camera, they need to be screaming and shouting. The set needs to be tense. Roland wasn't like that. He was on top of his craft. Mel's a great actor. He's many things, but he's a great actor, very generous actor. He's a guy that's really giving it off screen. And he's one of those. I remember they did the scene with Heath dying in his arms. Or injured. I think I remember he was dying. No, I think he was injured in his arm. And and it's a huge set. I mean, like there's the crane coming down, like 500 people coming up the hill on a horse, and it ends up in a close up of him. And he's standing smoking a fag and smoking a cigarette for the American listeners. And and he's telling some hilariously blue off-color story and gag. And then they go, "Ready?" And he runs over. They go, "Action." He sits down, he kneels down, and he keens. When he rips his soul out, there's no, "Oh, I'm going to do some crying noises." Mel goes there. He's got these wells of rage, obviously, and pain that he can access. And the tears are projectiling out of his eyes. And he's holding it, and they go, "Cut. 10 of the horses went left instead of right. They're going to reset." And he comes over, he finishes the joke. He must have done 10 takes like that. And it was never him he was getting it perfect every time because the horses were wrong or because the camera didn't do it right. He never said, "Hey, listen, guys, I've done it now. That's enough." And we were playing chess and Scrabble in between and telling jokes. And I've always been like that on the set. Sometimes there are people who want to keep themselves and go somewhere. My best experiences have been not just you joking to distract people, but you're keeping that sense of play so close to the surface that you can laugh, you can cry, you can rage, you can murder. They're all part of a spectrum of it. They're all connected in a way. They're about being loose and letting things flow through you. So no, I was on the set. What I was amazed by on that film is that Roland, the director, and Dean, the producer, and Mel gave me a seat at the top table. If I had an idea, we did it. if they thought it was good, and anytime I wanted to change the script or come up with something. I remember we were going to, I was meant to get off my horse and go into the church and tell them all that I knew they'd been collaborators and I was going to burn them. And I said to Roland, I could ride into the church. How about that for disrespect? And I think one of the designer or someone was next to me said, I don't think we made the doors big enough. And Roland went, hold on. What do you mean? I said, well, it'd be just nasty if I ride into the church, I tell them that they will, they can save themselves if they tell me where the guy is. And then once they tell me, I'll go, thank you. And I ride out and burn it. And he goes, yeah, sure, I like it. And then someone else came over and said, mate, I don't think the doors are big enough. He says, sure. So we shoot it later, make the doors bigger. And I ended up riding the church. They gave me a complete unknown, the license to come up with stuff that I thought was fun. If they thought it was fun, we did it too. And
that's fun. That made you feel good, huh?
But also, the best creative work comes when you empower everyone. I watched Chris Columbus, that lovely, lovely man and wonderful director. I watched him on Harry Potter. Ask 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds who never acted before, what do they think? They have any good ideas for the scene? What do they think? And, I saw the director of, I did a series called The OA on Netflix. And Zal, this genius director who I adore, he had a number of people who'd never acted before. Ian, who's in it, and other people. And he'd ask them what they wanted. He'd say, you know the character better than me. What do you think? It's not that there's nobody in charge. Far from it. It's the very opposite. But if you empower everybody, then you can take the best of their ideas. And that was what the set of The Patriot was like. 100%. Mel was always encouraging me to be, he wanted me to direct the stunt stuff. He directed Braveheart. He was like, the stunt guys came and showed us the fight. And he goes, no, Jace, you take over, tell them. And I'm like, these people have been doing this job for longer than I've been alive. He went, tell them what the fight needs to be. So it's just, anybody listening, the point is not me telling showbiz stories. If you're doing anything creative, empower everyone. No one knows better than anybody else.
I always say that's absolutely true. Whatever you're doing, I defer to other people, real people who know what they're doing. Hey, when you're doing a scene and I look at the camera guy and I go, hey, John, is that funny? He's like, not really. I'm like, well, it's not funny. It's not working. If John's not laughing, he's our audience. John fucking knows.
I don't know. I would take odds with you that. I think there's something about comedy. If it's funny on the set, it probably isn't funny at home.
That's true. That's true. That could very much happen.
You're getting the crew laughing. It's just like you get the crew applauding at a big performance. It's a big performance, and it's not going to work on camera. The crew shouldn't see it. The camera sees your secrets. The crew shouldn't see your secrets, I think.
That's happened where you're like, everybody's laughing. It's just fun. It's gone both ways, but I think you just have to know when something's funny and trust it and not try to overdo it. And that can be very difficult unless you're with you have the right director.
The thing is, people try and be funny. You've got funny bones. Funny people are funny. And people who are unfunny, I don't care who wrote their fucking script. They're just never going to get a laugh. They just don't get it. Just don't get the rhythm of it.
Hey, this is called Shit Talking with Jason Isaacs. This is rapid fire.
Go for it.
You can be as fast as you want. If you want to talk about it, you can. My lovely patrons, Emily asks, what's your favorite line or insult your character on Harry Potter said?
Oh, I remember being in Hagrid's house, and it's because I like the vowel. I came up with this tortuous voice for Lucius Malfoy. It was meant to make you hate him before you understood a word. And I said, I was in his house, and I went, you call this a heist? I just remember that.
Say it again. I like it.
You call this a heist?
Maisha, you've had a long and very diverse career. Is there any actor that you absolutely loved working with, and why? The one that just comes right off the tip of your tongue.
Oh, God. Well, Lenny James ended up being one of my best friends. So I loved working. I did a TV series with him. But in the movies, I loved working with Richard Harris because he's a god. And I'd been at drama school with his son, Jared. And when the days when Richard came to watch us in the plays were like 3 sets of white front stays. It was fucking terrifying. This Oscar winner was coming to watch us. And then I got to do a scene with him before he died, which I love.
I just started watching The Crown. I hadn't seen him 5 episodes in. Jared Harris.
Jared's fantastic.
Oh, man.
Jared's a fantastic actor. He was a fantastic actor at drama school. He was what they call a dangerous actor. People think dangerous actors are people that, swing the sword too close to your face. No, it's people who make bold choices and could fall flat on their ass, but could be genius. He was always brave with his choices.
That's difficult. Most people want to play it safe, right?
Yeah, you want to get the next job.
Maddie Wags, you're so good at playing a villain and making the audience instantly hate you. The Patriot, Soldier, Harry Potter. My question is, what draws you to the role of the villain? And you mentioned this; it has to be well written and not just kind of paper thin. But what character traits make for a good villain?
Just believability. Lucius Malfoy is just a racist. He's a scared old racist with ridiculous blonde hair. Does that remind you of anyone? And those people, they look in the mirror, they think they're right. If you play a character who's just doing shit to make the audience boo, they won't even notice you. White supremacists think they're right. He's trying to make Hogwarts great again. This is a guy who thinks the world was better when people like me ruled things, and he can see it's moving. So I believed him. The guy in the Patriot's trying to win the war. He's scared of going home because his aristocratic family is broke. There's got to be a reason why you're doing things.
Did you love working with Tom Felton?
I still love Tom Felton. I talk to him all the time.
I know.
We do stuff online all the time. We might do a podcast together. If I could ever pin him down. We're always in different countries, different times. He was a gorgeous kid. So lovely. I felt terrible bullying him on screen. And he's turned into a lovely young man. Yeah.
Matthew J., do you prefer playing the villain or the hero? Good guy role, which one you like?
I like the bits that are so well written that I get the credit for a writer who's created a three-dimensional part.
Good answer. Leanne P., you played a variety of characters over the years. Which one do you identify with the most?
Probably, I did Angels in America, the first productions on stage. And I went in to talk to them about playing Pryor, who is the drag queen who has AIDS. And I said, he has a very whingy, neurotic Jewish boyfriend. I never get to play that. And it's so much closer to who I am. So maybe Lewis in Angels is closer than any of the parts I played.
Carly T., was Armageddon as much fun to make as it was to watch? And what's your favorite memory from that shoot?
No.
I heard it was a pain in the ass.
Fuck no. I mean, I'll tell you, the only reason why is I was offered one of the astronauts and I couldn't do it because I was working. So they very kindly came back and said, why don't you play Professor Quincy? I'm like, okay, great. And my agent goes, you should take it because it's 8 days work over 6 months, but they'll pay for you to be in Los Angeles. We can look for other work. They'll actually pay for you to be in a hotel. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I go and do my first day's work. Michael's very nice. He's very flattering about how I do the one day that I have a lot of lines. And he goes, do we have you for the run of the picture? I said, well, I'm here for 6 months, but I'm only doing 8 days. No, bullshit. I'm going to put you in every day. We'll give you like a clipboard. We'll put you next to Billy Bob. We'll throw you a line occasionally. I almost vomited on the spot because I was there for 6 months, mostly as an extra every day. And every 2 months out of line. And that wasn't that much fun.
Janelle B., huge fan of the OA. There it is. As it is such an original show, please tell me it really wasn't canceled and the finale is just a plot to set up season 3.
I emailed you and said, I don't want to be inside of me. I don't want this to be therapy. I said, I'll come and do a show.
Was that the question, the first therapeutic?
I could weep. The OA, I loved it. I think it's so staggeringly original and beautiful and human. And I've been doing this job for a long time. I've done told a lot of great stories with great people. I've never come across anything like the OA. And I don't know if I was... other people watched it. Some people watched it and went, Most people I know who watched it, watched all 8 episodes of season 1, then all 8 episodes in one go because they couldn't stop and were profoundly affected by it in ways that they can't even explain. I thought it was, I said the ley lines met with Harry Potter, the ley lines met with the OA, that Zal and Britt came up with. It was something magic. They had all 5 seasons mapped out. Never heard of that before, really in great detail. Wow. And I don't know. I was blown away. And by this stage, I don't really get blown away by many things. I go, oh, that's nice. I'll do that. Oh, that's interesting. I just felt like I'd arrived fresh off the boat from another planet because I felt like they reinvented storytelling. If you haven't seen it, watch both seasons of it.
Please watch both seasons. And of course, Brotherhood, my mother's going to make me watch. I'm going to watch. Not that she has to make me watch, but I'm going to watch it.
Taste.
She is, but
in children and TV shows.
But you don't usually get, like you said, connected to something like that where emotionally, did you cry or were you really upset? Were you hurt that
when we were canceled? Yeah. I was devastated. Yeah, devastated by it. By the way, I wasn't the first choice for the part. They cast someone else. They shot with him and replaced him. I lucked into that. And I couldn't believe my good fortune. It was one of those things that, like I said, it was the doing of it. Being around people that creative, that generous, that supportive, that free in their thinking. I don't know if you're like this, but most things I'm on, like I'm trying to help my goddaughter write a script at the moment. Or if somebody comes up with stuff, I'm filtering it through the thousands of hours of dreck that I have made and seen and thought about. And I go, hey, why don't you? And I come up with some idea based on shit I've seen before. I felt like they were untouched by all of the poison of millions of hours of procedural TV that I've watched and processed. I felt like they meant it new. And I just being on set with them, telling this story so originally and the atmosphere in which we told it was enough for me. It turns out it was a giant cult hit. Can you be a giant cult? I don't know.
Sure.
And I was crushed. I didn't get to it. But the agents were thrilled. Not that it was cancelled because they liked it, but like, you're not lead. You've got out of it what you're going to get out of it. I remember hearing that from a representative going, you don't understand why I do this job. I'm not trying to build something on a ladder or, get the checks to go up or my quote to go up. I'm in this job because I love exploring human beings with talented people. And it's never been better than this. So yeah, I was crushed when it was over.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It just means I keep that child alive. I keep that look at me. I'm, my age, I talk like an over-sugared 8-year-old because I keep myself enthusiastic.
You are. Last question, Kelly asks, what was it like working with the late, great Alan Rickman?
I was stupidly, for years, scared shitless of him, intimidated by him, just from the way he spoke, He's actually the loveliest, most generous man, very fiercely committed to political causes, center-left and left-wing causes. When he found someone he wanted to champion or help, he really helped financially and with his time. He was amazing, but I never really, I stayed intimidated by him, and I never really got the benefit out of him that I could have done because it was an incredibly friendly set. The best moment on Harry Potter for me, best by far, was right at the end. We're shooting the final big battle at Hogwarts, so everybody's in, all the actors are in, and it rains, and so we're there every day, but it's raining, and so we don't shoot. And it being a big budget movie, they don't seem to care, which any other film, they'd be pulling their hair out, But so instead of going back to everyone's if it was an American movie, everyone would go back to their trailers and stuff. We all huddled in this tent, the sound of deafening rain. They had a very stale tea urn, like, your spoon would stand up in your cup of tea. And we sat there around these electric heaters, and Julie Walters told stories about her pig farm. And everybody, Alan told, Jim Broadbent was there, and Imelda wasn't there, but Gambon was there. So many people were there. All the kids were there. And just told stories. Everyone was telling us, hanging out like we were doing a touring theatre, dinner theatre production of something. And every day I get there and I go, please let it be raining today. Please let us not shoot this thing. And just to sit in the company of these great, great actors, the theatrical royalty, and the kind of, I don't know if maybe you've noticed this before, but every set, every film, every television show exists on this undercurrent, this bed of terror and anxiety that nobody's going to watch. Everyone's going to lose their money. The show's going to be cancelled, whatever it is. And on the Harry Potters, by the time we got, halfway through it, we go, these are the most popular films in the world. We're telling great stories, great scripts in a great way. And it just fills you with just confidence to be bold and to dare to do things. And with a great bunch of people. So, that was my favorite. What was it like working with Alan Rickman? Like it was working with everyone. I pinched myself every day that I saw my name on a list on the call sheet with these people that I frankly worshipped.
That is awesome. And I could picture it. I pictured the tent. I pictured everybody kind of in close proximity. I pictured someone just yelling this and then kind of sharing stories, and just, it feels like camp, Well,
that's so the public think about it. When we went to do premiere the last movie, they had to have like a dozen cinemas, and it was just the biggest thing that ever happened. And Trafalgar Square and Leicester Square were full of tens of thousands of people. And, I think sometimes when, I don't know if it happens to you, but my friends go, my daughter wants to be an actress, or my son wants to be an actor. We talk to them.
Mm.
It's because they've seen stuff like that on TV. But that's the life of an actor. The stuff that's lovely is us in a tent, shivering with the rain outside, sipping tea, telling stories as if we were all starting out as students. The fact that 4 of them have Oscars, there's no status in acting. There can't be status. There shouldn't be status in a group of players. Minstrels used to get kicked out or hung or raped or whatever it was. And, we're vagabonds. We should be. And that's what that felt like to me.
This has been an absolute joy. Honestly, I wish you all the best.
I hope I get to come to America. Sometime.
You have a place to stay. What's going on? By the way, what's your handle? What's your Instagram and all that?
I'm on Twitter. I'm at Jason's Folly. It's mostly been politics for a long time. I hope to God it doesn't have to be for a long time to come. I try and do self-promotion. I'm tempted to do easy gags all the time. It doesn't live alongside Trump's hideous racism and intent to destroy the world, but hopefully we'll never have to mention him again. So at Jason's Folly, on Instagram, which I post once every 6 months when my daughter reminds me I'm the real Jason Isaacs. Nice. And what's anything coming up? I know it's quarantine. Yeah, there's films. Well, there's films coming out, but I mean, are they coming out? I don't know. There's a film out now called Skyfire. There's a film coming out next week on Amazon, I think. Oh no, in January, called Dr. Bird's Advice for Sad Poets, which is a brilliant indie. There's a film in which I have a much bigger part I'm incredibly excited about that I can't say. I think about it. I was going to say, but no, it's called Mass. And it is the enticing scenario of 4 people sitting at a table talking. 2 of them are the parents of a kid who died in a school shooting. And the other 2 are the parents of the shooter. And it's some years have gone by and they've not been able to get over it. The kids are the parents of the victim. And their therapist suggests they meet the parents of the shooter to try and make him human. And it's one of the most brilliant pieces of writing and acting masterclasses, not from me, but from the other people I've ever seen in my life. It was staggering watching them. I don't know how it works as a film. I've been given amazing feedback, but you always are. That's the one I can't wait to see that come out in the new year. Oh, fuck it. You know what? There's a list of things. I don't know. There's a bunch of shit.
I want to see. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch The Death of Stalin. I want to see that.
Death of Stalin's, there's only Armando Iannucci in the world that could make a satire about, one of the world's most genocidal maniacs and make it both funny and respectful of the dead.
Ryan just went like this. My engineer just went, yeah, on that one. Yeah. Dude, I love you, and keep in touch. All my best with the kids and Emma and just life, and be healthy and safe. And thanks for doing this.
What's dating during a pandemic like?
Oh, God. We'll discuss after.
Okay, off air.
All right, man. Thanks. Right, thanks for allowing me to be inside of you, Jace.
Great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Are we done?
Hey, thanks for listening. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and hopefully you enjoyed Jason Isaacs, and you'll stick around for next week's episode and support the podcast. And I just want to say I really appreciate that. It was a really fun interview talking to my old buddy. I remember on Sweet November us going like golfing and hanging around San Francisco, and then being transvestites in a movie, and it was a treat. I definitely have fond memories of that, working with Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron, and it was a lot of fun. Ryan, that was a good episode. Good editing, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was. He's a private guy, and yet I think he was open and very forthcoming. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was.
That's a word.
I think it was a word. Mm-hmm. I took word power in high school. I remember ameliorate, to become better. I remember exuberant, overwhelming with joy. I remember colloquialism. Not sure what that one meant. I think it was like frat is a colloquialism.
Yeah, it's
for fraternity.
Right.
It's
slang. It's a fancy word for slang.
Yeah, colloquialism.
Can I tell you my favorite word?
Yeah.
Defenestrate.
Defenestrate. Does that mean take away?
It means to throw out of a window.
Throw out of a window. Okay, defenestrate. I was close.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, right? Just to do away with.
Yeah. It's just.
I defenestrated my father in Smallville. Lex Luthor defenestrated his father out of the fucking window.
That's right.
I am the villain of the story. Hey, guys, this has been a real treat. Thank you for supporting the band Sunspin. Go to sunspin.com for all your merch. Go to Inside of You online store for all your merch for the podcast. Patreon, my lovable, awesome patrons. Hi out there. This is just for you. This goes out to the awesome patrons who make this show very possible. So I just want to say I love you and all that stuff. I'm a weirdo right now. Go to patreon.com/insideofyou. And if you also have any questions, you could also go to hello@Inside of You Podcast for any information. What are the handles for Inside of You Podcast?
@Inside of You Pod on Twitter, @Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
That's correct. And they're right here, so you can see them. So it's a beautiful thing. All right, here are the wonderful patrons that if you want to join Patreon, go to patreon.com/insideofyou. I'll send you a message, but these are the folks that really support the show, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. Also, thanks to Westwood One, Kelly, Agnes, Teresa, Katrin, and my good friend Ryan and Bryce. I can't wait to hug you, Ryan. It's going to be a good one.
I'm looking forward to so many hugs.
Yeah, we're going to hug it out. Here are the Patreons. Music, please. Oh, there it is right there. Let's put a little Sunspin music on here, instrumental, while we're doing it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You feel that? Nancy D, Mary B, Leah S, Trisha F, Sarah V, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Lauren G, Nico P, this is Sexy Voice, Robin S, Jerry W, Robert I, Jason W, Stephen J, Kristen K, Amelia O, Allison L, Jess J, Lucas M, Raj
C,
Joshua
D,
Emily
S,
yes, CJ
P,
Samantha,
B.
No, M. That was a roll right there, buddy.
I got it wrong last week too.
Jennifer N, Jackie P, Stacy L, Carly H, Jen S, Jamal F, Janelle B. By the way, I do that. I have to change a page. I have to lick my finger. I have to. My fingers won't change a fucking page. And people say they hate those people who do that. Sometimes I do that.
Does it come with age?
I don't fucking know, dude.
Because it feels like a dad thing to do.
I've been a dad for 20 years then. Carrie B, Tabitha 272, not to be confused with.
Tabitha 273.
Ashley Ryan, Kimberly E, Mike E, Marissa.
And
Yes, Eldon Supremo, Dan, Jack S, Ramira, Beth B, Santiago M, Sarah F, Chad W, Leanne.
P.
You're good, buddy. Ray.
A.
Yes, Maya.
P.
Maisha. That's a hard one. I
I
don't
don't.
see.
Hmm.
Maisha. Maddie, Kendrick F, Ashley E, Shannon D, Matt W, Belinda N, Kevin V, James R, Chris H, Osbjorn H, Osbjorn, Amy C, Dave H, Samantha S, Spider-Man,
Chase.
Sheila,
G.
Ray,
A.
H,
Oh, that one's Ray H.
Alyssa C, Tabitha T, Misha H, Tom N, Henry S, Katie F. They're all here. You can see their names and you can hear them. And Liliana A, Michelle K, Hannah B, Michael S, Talia M, Luke H, John S, Andrew T, Claire M, Liz J, Laura L, Chad L, Rochelle, Nathan E, Brandel, Taylor K, Neil A, Marlon, Meg K, Janelle P, Dan N, Jennifer N, almost done here, Wayne M, Ojeda, Lorraine G, Olga. Oh, my Olga C. Olga ordered a bunch of shirts.
Oh.
With my face on it for her school. Olga, you rock. Corey M. This has been a real treat. Ryan, what are we going to do this week that is going to make us feel better? Name one thing you're going to do for yourself this week.
I'm going to actually pick up my goddamn guitar.
Good, because I think you're a fabulous guitar player and a singer.
Thank you.
I do. You're very, very talented in many ways. And I think I don't want you to forget the things you love and the passions you have because you're tied up with like lots of work.
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
I don't want you to stop working because then we'd be FUCK'd.
Oh, that'd be great.
But I want you to take care of yourself. I'm going to try and take care of myself. I'm going to try and play some golf.
That's good.
I'm going to try, I've been writing a lot, but I got to, I'm writing a new song. I'm writing a new song called Movie Star.
Ooh.
And I played it for Rob and he loved it. And then Rob is bringing his brilliance to it. So we'll be getting that. Anyway, have a fabulous week, guys. We love you from the Hollywood Hills.
The lifestyles of the mildly famous.
Lifestyles of the mildly famous and not so rich. I am Michael Rosenbaum.
I've been Ryan Tejas.
Yeah, I'm Ryan Tejas. And have a superb week. Do something for yourself. Love yourself. Give yourself a break. We'll be back next week. Please join us. Please subscribe. We love you. Give a wave. Thanks for allowing me to be inside of each and every one of you guys. Thanks.